Hey, welcome to the Randy Karraker Show here on STL Sports Central, presented by DraftKings, where the crown is yours. Matthew Rocchio, Randy Karraker, great to have you with us. Hope the weekend was good and productive and fun. Billikens won.
It was busy.
Busy
weekend.
It was a busy weekend. It was great.
Yeah, a lot of good things happened. Blues won, then practice happened. And now we know exactly how bad that was with the 6-week injury to Dylan Holloway as Alexei Toropchenko rejoins the roster, and then they lose Holloway. All in all, love Alexei being back in the lineup, but that's a negative return.
Yeah, it kind of is, and hopefully Torpo will get hot.
Let's go, Torpo. Oh no! See, I was so unprepared for that one. I'm sorry, Torpo. I hope you have a really good run on the third line.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there you go. Kind of fun. Blues and we would call them the hapless Predators. They play tonight, but the Predators hammered the Blues 7-2.
Yep.
You know, there's 17 teams within like 3 points of the Blues in the league. This is a whole league that has the same problems the Blues have. Nobody can get their players to play hard every night. Well, I shouldn't say nobody. The Panthers can, the Avalanche can, and to an extent, the Vegas Golden Knights can, but not many teams can get their players to play hard every night.
No, and
it's a very immature league right now.
Do you think it's I'm not saying it's not that, but how much do you think this is that it's guys playing preservation because of the schedule?
Well, I think that's part of it. Yeah, it's kind of ridiculous to schedule the way it works out, and I think that's so.
Maybe the teams that have already won, the guys who know what it takes, are more willing to say, "Listen, let's sacrifice. We can take advantage of this league. We can be in a good spot as number one seeds." Maybe the more immature teams that don't have the experience and haven't won in the last 3 or 4 years are have a bunch of guys who are maybe more worried about the schedule than the W's and L's right now.
Maybe trying to pace themselves when they really don't know how to pace themselves. You look at the teams at the top. Colorado is 6 points clear of everybody else in the league. Dallas is second. Teams that have established veteran guys that have been through the wars before and can, as we've used the phrase here on this show before, they drag guys into the fight.
Yep.
Carolina, same way. Minnesota is uber talented, but they have some veteran guys. They're going to be really tough with the addition of Hughes. But then Vegas is sitting there with 41 points. Islanders have a veteran presence. Capitals have the most veteran presence. And Tampa Bay, obviously. And then a guy like Joel Quenneville, Anaheim doesn't have much veteran presence, but Quenneville gets young guys to play hard. And then you look at that group. So the Blues have 31 points. The group of 17 teams between 30 and 37 points. So these 17 are within 30 and 37, or 30 and 38. Okay. Blues, Jets, or let's start with that, the Flames. Calgary, Seattle, Blues, Jets, Blue Jackets, Sabres, Blackhawks. This is not great company, by the way. Senators, Toronto has 33. Florida, without Matthew Tkachuk and without Barkov, has 34. Utah has 35. San Jose, 35. Edmonton has 36 points. The Rangers have 36. Then the Devils and the Kings both have 37. Pittsburgh also has 37. And then Philly and Detroit have 38. Basically, that whole group has similarities in that they have a lot of young players that it's just really difficult to get to play hard on a consistent basis.
Got a question here from High Definition who loves that we're talking a little hockey. Question, will any Blues players make the Olympics or have they played themselves off? I don't really know what the situation is going to be with Binnington. Obviously, with the way he's been playing poorly wouldn't shock me, but at the same time, it's also within a calendar year that he won them a medal, and his GM is also his GM. So that helps too. I will say, though, with pretty definitive confidence that with the way he's playing, there's no problem with the way that Broberg is playing right now, and so he will most definitely be suiting up for Sweden. Yeah. Beyond that, I'm not 100% sure. Brinkle will be on the he'll be on the bubble. He was, when we went over like a month ago, he was, I think, listed at the time in a group of 12 or 10 defensemen for Canada, and I think he was listed at that time around like 7th or 8th, so he was on the bubble. But yeah, Broberg definitely will be on his side. I think there's There might be somebody else from a smaller European nation I'm blanking on who's in discussions, but that's the one I know for guarantee is 100% no matter what happens. Berberger's played well enough, and he's locked into the spot on the Swedish team.
Blues and Predators tonight over at Enterprise Center. This is the fourth game of a 10-game stretch where the Blues should come out on top. Theoretically, they should be playing with or better than these teams, and Nashville is one that you should absolutely beat. Okay, let's talk a little Cardinal baseball.
Ace Rob, though, really quick says, trade Chen, trade Falk, trade Fowler, trade Binnington, and get the best you can for these young kids. Bring up all the kids and see what you have for next year.
Well, see, the problem is, then you wind up being what Anaheim and San Jose and Chicago have been for years.
DFL?
And you don't want to be that. Yeah.
I don't think you want to be that. At the same time, like I have a friend who's a diehard, deep analytics hockey fan, and me and him were trading messages today, and he's trying to find trades that make the Blues better. And my thing is just like, at what point, does Stillman and company say this? Listen, this isn't the year for us. We're certainly not going to add any kind of salary or any shape or form because, some people are going to be like, well, they have a lot of that LTIR money to play with. It's going to be like, I think there's going to get to a point this season where it's like, why play with that money? Why would the ownership spend
more cash
at that point? And I'm not going to blame them for that either. I'm not saying pack it up and go for the number one pick, but I'm saying you got to be realistic about the economics of this whole thing.
And let's point out quickly that when Dave Checketts was the owner, and nobody was coming to the games because the team sucked, Tom Stillman was part of the ownership group. He's seen what happens when the Blues go down to the bottom. Not only do they go down to the bottom of the standings, they go down to the bottom of the attendance figures too. People don't show up when the Blues are bad. It's expensive, and it's just like where the Cardinals are right now. And people will bail so quickly to make your head spin on this franchise if they start losing like they did before Tom Stillman took over. He doesn't want that, and they're closer to being really good than they are to being really bad. It'd be foolish to trade all those guys and not give yourself an opportunity to win with the likes, when healthy, of Kyrou, Thomas, Broberg, Holloway, Binnington, Hofer,
Parayko.
Parayko, several others. I don't know well, I do know that would not be the most intelligent move in this particular market.
Speaking of intelligent moves, MyQuest says it would be insane not to have Binner at least backing up for Canada after what he did at the World Cup of Hockey. I don't care how he's played this season. He's clutch. He's just on a bad hockey team right now. Speaking of that, Blues obviously aren't very good. Cardinals aren't going to be very good. We'll get into the news from the weekend and some potential things coming up here this week for the Cardinals in just a moment. I had a friend also who texted me and said, is this the worst that it's been for St. Louis sports since 2007? That was the last time he tried to pinpoint when all the teams in the area were really non-playoff and struggling. And I was like, yeah, that's a pretty good time to pinpoint it. Cardinals immediately bust out, from 08 through, 16 is a pretty solid team. Yeah. The Rams obviously were crap until they leave in 16. The Blues obviously get really good for the last, 10 years from, 12 to maybe a little bit before that through 22, 23.
Yeah, I would say that that's pretty accurate because if you look 2009, the Blues were pretty good, although all of that is offset by the fact that Keith Null was starting for your local football team.
Yep.
So 9 was not great.
That's a good point.
Not until they got rid of Davis Payne and hired Hitch, the Blues were kind of scuffling. I think you could probably look at that 2010 area. Cardinals made the playoffs in 2009, but not in 10.
Yeah, and it's not like we talk about the 2011 season. It wasn't like they were stacking talent before that year.
Yeah. And then the Blues were not great at that point, and the Rams absolutely sucked. So yeah, I would think that that's probably 2010 maybe.
We're cresting about a 15-year run here, everybody. This is just how the cycle goes, and here we are on the back end of it.
Yeah. So hashtag LGB. Let's get that thing going. Okay, the Cardinals made a move over the weekend. If he passes a physical, Dustin May will become a member of the Cardinals. He has not had many healthy seasons. He has not been particularly healthy, although he had his healthiest season in 2025 for the Dodgers and the Red Sox. For the Doyers, he actually was third on their team in starts after Yamamoto and Kershaw. He had 18 starts for LA, 19 games, and threw 104 innings, 97 Ks, and 104. Then he moves over to Boston, has 26 strikeouts and 28 and a third after he got traded there. His record 7-11 on the year. He's a guy that was a high level prospect for the Doyers, and just never was able to stay healthy. As a matter of fact, the most games before 2025 that he pitched in the majors was in his rookie year of 2019 when he appeared in 14 games. He's been hurt a lot, but he's a guy that is a low risk, high reward because his stuff is good, and he did pitch 132 and a third. If he could replicate, Matthew, that 132 and a third innings with 123 strikeouts, I would take that. 8.4 strikeouts per 9 innings, 3.8 walks per 9. If he could do that exact same season for the Cardinals in 2026, I'd be really happy.
Yes, and also you can see there in the 2021 season, it's only 23 innings pitched, but he does have a little bit of bump there. I mean, that's the thing, is all the numbers prior to 2025 are just so small, and we have it there at the bottom. But at the same time, you look at the walks per 9, the strikeouts per 9 of those shorter seasons. Look at the ERA plus of those shorter seasons, and then look at it last year. If you look at all those shorter seasons, we're talking about 200 innings where he gives you an ERA plus of 138, 38% better than the average pitcher, and that's across 200 innings. Last year, though, it's the 130 innings, and his ERA plus averages out to 84, which is 16% worse. So the what you're taking the flyer on, again, there's no such thing as a bad one-year contract. We don't know what the deal is, but he was projected to get 2 for 26. So I'm guessing it's 1 for 15 because you buy a little bit of extra for not giving him the second year.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing 1 for 15, maybe an incentive or 2 to get him up to 16 or 17. So what you're buying is the potential to combine the ERA plus and the stuff of his first 5 years in Major League Baseball with the longevity of actually pitching more than 56 innings that he did this year. And if you can combine those two things, you get a guy who can hopefully give you 130 innings. And yes, probably not the 138 ERA plus that he had in those smaller samples. Let's bust it down a little bit. He gives you 116 ERA plus. He's a solid 4th or 5th starter for the St. Louis Cardinals in 2026. And it's a good deal because it's cheap. And heck, if he does that, and let's throw out a little theory here. He does a little bit better. What happens?
Trade him at the deadline.
There it is.
Yeah, you bring up Liam Doyle. That'll be fine. By the way, he has pitched in the postseason in 2019 and 2020. Again, not that this really makes any difference to the Cardinals, but if somebody's interested in trading for him at the deadline, it'll probably be a contender. A career 3.86 earned run average in 14 postseason innings. So he's been reasonably effective. The key is keeping him healthy, just like it was when you signed Chris Carpenter back in 2003. 2002 actually, for 2003, and he wasn't even with the Cardinals as a member of the active roster in 2003. But you want to keep a guy like that as healthy as you can possibly do it. And I'm going to call him Carrot Top heretofore.
Yeah, it's just kind of have to. It's just kind of right there. It's like a car crash. You want to look away, but you can't really do so. We've been getting some other thoughts here. I like this from Patrick Toohey. 2007 was much better for St. Louis sports simply for the fact that Albert Pujols was in his prime and Waino was just getting going. The Cards were just 1 year removed from a World Series win. That's a good point. It's a good point. Yeah, I'm with Randy. 2010 seems like a really good time to be like, yeah, again, we're on the end of a good 15-year run, everybody. Yay. Dustin May, solid signing. It's exactly what you wanted to see from the Cardinals. High upside, zero risk at all.
Yeah, and you need starting pitching. And I saw somebody today on social media saying they've given up on Andre Palante, who, how quickly we forget, was arguably the best Cardinals starter other than Sonny Gray in 2024. Had a really good year, made 20 starts, had a 3.56 earned run average in those starts. He pitched really well as a starter. And he's got to make the adjustment back to what got him to be successful in 2024. But this is what happens is a guy has a bad year and you say, I can't wait to get rid of him. Then he goes somewhere else and he succeeds. And then you say, why did we get rid of him? So I think we just need to be patient here. And I said this to Matthew when he said, what do you think of the May signing? I said, well, it's not like they're one piece away from winning a World Series. They're in roll the dice, maybe maximize asset mode. And that's what you have to look at with a guy like May and maybe even with a guy like Palante.
You bring up Palante, and I kind of like where Bill Downton's going with this question. The way you phrased that out was going to be exactly how what I asked next. Do we see runs of 6-man rotations here? Because my thing is I agree with you on Palante, but I also see a world where they just say, listen, if we're going to switch Leahy to a starter, we think it might be better for just both us and for Palante just to make him a reliever again. But I do kind of see a world where, to your point, because Palante had that run as a starter, but obviously has an issue with amount of innings pitched, you lengthen everybody out by going to a 6-man rotation. But it also throws off everybody else. But again, who are you throwing off? What veteran are you worried about?
Here's the thing, Matthew. We can go to DraftKings Sportsbook. I don't know if we can find this future, but if we could get the bet that Dustin May is going to wind up on the on the IL, let's make that bet.
Yeah,
because he does. That's what he does. He's going to wind up on the IL. So you're going to have to use those other guys.
Yeah.
And you're going to have to even get more starting pitching. You can't stop now. You have to get more starting pitching because the Cardinals had an anomalous year last year without ever putting a pitcher on the IL with an arm injury. And none of those pitchers happened to be starting pitchers. Did you like that use of the word?
I love the use of the word anomalous. I love that.
Thank you. So they're going to have to collect starting pitching because I'll bet you they'll need to use at least 10 in 2026. You don't go 2 full years, and granted, Gray and Michaelis were a part of what they did, and Fetty was also a part of what they did in being so healthy, but it's kind of like the Blues. They didn't have any injuries last year. That's one of the reasons they went on their run. Look at them now.
Jesus.
And I think the Cardinals will probably wind up in that same boat where we'll see a lot of guys land on the IL.
Matthew Liberatore, run far away from the Cardinals this season. Dear God, run, man. Speaking of the Cardinals and potentially adding some arms, we're getting some reports out there, Randy Karraker, about some trades materializing. We've been talking about all the teams that are being reported about, but the big ones that are being talked about is a potential deal with Donovan to the Seattle Mariners or to the San Francisco Giants. Our big question mark around the Giants deal was who might it be for? We're getting answers because we're getting prospects names for both the Giants and the Mariners. Let's start with the Mariners one, and let's thank
your guy.
Let's thank our good friend Space Magic Storm, who was responding to Dalton Ferris, who's asking what's the Mariners deal? The projected potential deal right now, the named prospects that are being thrown out. The Cardinals are asking about. As reported by Katie Wu from her sources around Major League Baseball, are pitcher Jurangelo Senja, excuse me, that's how we're pronouncing the last name, Jurangelo Senja, and outfield Lazaro Montez. That would be 2 of the Mariners' top 7 prospects. Senja is their number 7 prospect. Montez is their number 3 prospect on the MLB.com list. Montez is a 6'5", 220-pound outfielder with light tower power, as they like to say. Honestly, if that is what the Cardinals are asking for, make the trade. That's fantastic. I love it.
Montez, by the way, another left-handed hitter, but if he does have light tower power, you put him in there. And Jurangelo, give me that again.
Senja.
Cijntje, and he's a left-hander and a right-hander.
Yeah, switch pitcher. Come on, let's go.
Okay. I'm intrigued. I would like to get one of their established major league starters, but if you can't, you get the novelty.
Yeah, and I think the issue there is that, to your point, Senja's more of a novelty, whereas Sloan and Anderson are the guys that they want to slot in when they can't re-sign all of the current starters. They're not going to be able to re-sign Gilbert and Kirby and so one or 2 of those guys walk, and so they're going to want to keep their more prototypical starters. Whereas you get the Brendan Donovan add to your lineup by giving the Cardinals a little bit of a flavor.
Do we need to have, if we're going to get Jurangelo Senja, does Cooper Zerpe need to be up here? And
yes.
Max Radjic?
Yes. I just go full crazy on the names. I like this. I like this.
I think we need to do this. Maybe get some other guys. Senja, by the way.
That reminds me that
Senja.
It's always really bothered me how Brett Favre's name is spelled.
Oh, yeah.
It's always bothered me.
Brett Favre.
I hate it so much.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
It bothers me so much.
Yep, it's hard. It's hard to come to grips with how it's spelled and how it's said.
There you
go. So anyway, Senja, his dad played in the Netherlands, and Jurangelo, a lefty, wanted to copy his dad and liked wearing his gloves. So he learned to throw with the other hand, and that's how he became a switch pitcher.
I love that so much. Space Magic Storm also says Montez could be awesome. Hits about average, but 30+ homer potential sounds great. Yes, because if the Cardinals are in fact out on Nolan Gorman, there's no one else in the organization right now who really projects to have that consistently. And so acquiring an outfielder, and we've talked a lot about how some of their outfield prospects have not really developed. Obviously, Baez looks like he could be a good power guy for the corner, but Montez at this point, I mean, he gives you a DH potential. If Walker doesn't work out, we got a right fielder to pair with Baez for the corners. If Baez doesn't work out, you got another big power hitter who can slot into a corner outfield spot. We've been talking a lot about these trades being pitcher and pitcher, but I like the idea of adding left-handed power hitting. I mean, that's one hell of a chess piece to add to the organization that they don't really have right now.
If you make the postseason, left-handed power, as we see from people like Freddie Freeman and Shohei Ohtani, it's a difference maker. And if the Cardinals could get a guy like that, that might kind of not eliminate, but maybe assuage some of the concerns that you have about A, Lars Nootbaar staying healthy, B, Burleson not having a ton of home runs, and or C, Gorman not hitting the ball an awful lot. When Gorman hits the ball, it goes, but he doesn't hit it an awful lot. So maybe if you have a 6'5" lefty that's in the daylights out of the ball, you can get by with a guy like that. And maybe that offsets some of your left-handedness if he's a really good hitter.
I've been going back and forth with one of the commenters here who's been very loyal. Can I continue our little battle here? Henry Wells.
Hi, Hank.
Listen, I haven't agreed with you on the Cardinals BFib stuff, but that's fine. I thought we found some pretty good even ground. And then you come in and say this stuff and make really. The Blues and Braden Shen are simply a dirty hockey club. Yep. Hockey is more fun when the best stars are on the ice, shanking a face of the league in the last 10 seconds of a hockey game. He lost his edge and slipped. And Shen was doing what you always do in that physical altercation in that moment, because exactly what happened, which is if Bedard is able to get the puck backwards, Bertuzzi rips off a shot, and they potentially tie the game at 3-3. You have to get physical in the ice there. And again, you can see a different angle. Bedard lost his edge on his skate and fell to the ice himself, and then it's a freak injury that happens. Calling the Blues and Braden Shen dirty, or saying in your other comment they should be ashamed because they took out one of the stars at the end of a game? Come on, Henry.
Come on, Henry.
That's a ridiculous thing to get
is
to.
Henry a Blackhawks fan?
I don't know. He's a diehard BFibs Cardinals fan. I can't imagine he's a Blackhawks fan.
Let's look at it this way. Number one, who does Connor Bedard play for?
The Blackhawks.
We got a ways to go to make up for Brent Seabrook.
Yeah, okay? I mean, come on. Even if it was dirty, wakey Bacchus was the definition of a dirty hit in a long career of dirty Brent Seabrook hits.
Yeah. So, and then we had. Well, we've had a lot of creeps on that team, so
unbelievable. Come on.
So
now.
Anyway, the Giants names, and I heard from somebody today that the Giants feel like there's a pretty good chance that they're going to get Donovan. The names talked about for him include infielder Gavin Killen or Kylan, and I'm kind of surprised the Cardinals would be after an infielder, but you can never have too many good players. And left-hander Carson Wisenhunt, and this is according to Katie Wu at The Athletic. And again, if the Cardinals if they make these moves, I have confidence. Chaim Bloom and his staff, including Cerfolio from Cleveland, Dave from Cleveland, Pierpont from Seattle, those guys have the benefit of the doubt for me until they prove they can't do it, because Chaim has done it in Tampa and in Boston. Obviously, the Cleveland situation, you see all the young players and pitchers that they brought up. You see all the young pitchers that Seattle has brought up. These guys that are with the Cardinals now were a big part of those teams getting young players and pitchers to the major leagues. So until these guys prove to me that they can't do it, I'm going to buy in and believe that they can, simply because they've done it before.
Yeah, I think that's completely fair. Carson Wisenhunt.
You and I are unfortunately in this day and age relentlessly positive, and I think there are a lot of people that just want to be negative and find the negative in every aspect of life that they can. I'm kind of the other end of the spectrum.
Jim and Cam in the morning would very much disagree with you calling me a positive. person.
you're
overall.
positive, Pete, man.
Carson Whisenhunt was the lefty at the highest rated.
Related to Ken, you think?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Maybe. He's the highest rated prospect pitcher that the Giants have right now. He's a lefty, 25 years old, 6'3", 214. Kylan or Killeen, whatever it's supposed to be pronounced. The reason why that doesn't shock me is twofold. One is he's 21 in single A, which means if Gorman has a year to work it out, Killeen's not stepping in anyone's shoes. You could give Weatherholt second base this year and move him to third base in the future. So it's a long scope on a guy like that. But he would be the thing that surprised me about that deal, to your point, is that of the two, at least in the Giants organization, this is a big thing, is you never know how organizations are going to value other prospects. This is how the Giants value them. Would surprise me a little bit if, like, the better part of the deal for Brendan Donovan is a position player, not a pitcher.
That would be interesting.
It'd be the more immediate impact would be Whisenhunt, a pitcher, but the A part of the deal as opposed to the B part would be an infielder way down the road, which would shock me a little bit.
Mike Shannon used to talk about, the late great Mike Shannon talks about how when the Giants and Dodgers were both good in the 60s, the Giants had all the hitters. Willie Mays, Willie McCovey, Jim Ray Hart, all those guys. And the Dodgers had all the pitchers. It was Koufax, and it was Drysdale, and it was Don Sutton, and all those guys. You look at the Giants minor league system now, and it looks like it hasn't changed a bit. Now, they did have that run, obviously, with Kane and Mad Bum and Lincecum, where they produced pitching. But they haven't produced an awful lot of homegrown pitching. And the Dodgers, while loaded right now with young position players, they have continued to churn out, if not guys that turned out to be great at the major league level, a lot of young pitching prospects that other teams have taken an interest in, Dustin May being one of them. But when you are able to trade, like the trade they made with Washington a few years ago, when they got Scherzer and Trey Turner, and they gave up JoJo Gray, I think, in that deal, and Keibert Ruiz. At that point, Gray was one of the most highly regarded young pitchers in baseball. The Dodgers are just unbelievable in their ability to still have a great system, one of the best in baseball, despite winning all the time.
Deep voice dude, I think it was Lex Luthor, but his name's changed because YouTube did that thing. Yeah. 1967 is the best year in STL sports, since it's the only year the NFL, NBA, MLB, and NHL were in town at the same time. I think it's a good call, but I think you could argue 2000 when the Cardinals played in the League Championship Series against the Mets. The Blues played in the Western Conference Finals, and the
Blues won the President's Trophy.
They won the President's Trophy. My apologies for boofing it. And then the St. Louis Rams
January 30th. 2000
won the actual Super Bowl. Yeah. So I think 2000 would be a pretty good argument for the best year in STL sports, while we're throwing that out there. Jenny Wellesley's not an endless troll ripping the Cardinals. Yeah, I know you're not, but you had a weird rip of the Blues, and so I'm going to come after you a little bit. Sorry, buddy. Got a lot of I like this from Taco Dell. I'm tired of STL sports being bad. It's depressing, honestly.
Well, yeah, it's the thing is you look at this as a journey now, and hopefully a journey to quality play. But if you're not going to be good, at least the worst thing you can be is old and bad, like the Rams became after the Greatest Show on Turf. And we loved the guys, still love the guys, but as a group, they became old and bad, right? And it was unfortunate. You don't want to be that. If you're going to be bad, you want to be young and bad, so you have a chance to get better. And I think that's where the Cardinals are right now, is they are understanding, and they're telling us, look, we're not going to be good in 2026. We're going to be a team that hopefully is on an upward trajectory in 27 and 28. So at least they're telling us, they're being honest with us. And not that they weren't last year, they were, but actions speak louder than words. And the fact that the Cardinals moved Gray, are willing to move Contreras, want to move Arenado, that tells you all you need to know. It's going to be a super young team, but hopefully it'll be a young team that is fun to watch. And it's something that, because I've only been watching Cardinal baseball since like 1971, I've never seen in my entire life. So I'm kind of intrigued by how the Cardinals do this.
Again, I fell in love with sports because of the Rams. So the idea of rebuilding a team, I mean, this is this is my core as a
Mhm.
sports fan. Randy, this is what I was doing for years. How do we get out of the cellar of being such a crappy team? We build through the draft and in the trenches, which is what the actual Rams never flipping did. Let's get to some of these chats. I'm going to try to catch up here, but I'm a little behind. I'm going to ask you the question.
Yes.
Let's just say for fun here that these deals are real, and these are what the deals are.
Yes.
Mariners, Sanger, and Montez. Giants offering Colleen and Wisenhunt. You're the decision maker for the Cardinals. You have these two deals in front of you. Which one do you pull the trigger on if you're pulling the trigger on either of them?
Okay, if the projections on the players are correct, basically I'm making the choice between a guy in Wisenhunt that has a chance to be a really good starting pitcher and a guy that has a chance to be a good reliever in the switch pitcher, Sanger. And then you're looking at the position players, and I would easily go with Montez, the 6'5", 220-pound left-handed slugger. I think
it's so hard not to ignore the guy's 6'5", and everyone's just like, his best thing is power, and I'm just like, God, I'm gonna fall for it.
He's a lefty Jordan Walker. Good everybody.
Lord, I'm like Al Davis in the 40-yard dash, though.
Yeah,
this is a problem. Ooh,
there's nothing wrong with having.
Well, there was Darius Hayward Bay was a problem.
Yeah, well, yeah, we've had a few. But I think I would be inclined for two reasons to go with the Seattle deal. Number one, the upside of the position player in the Seattle aspect of things, and then the pitcher Sanger would be somebody that Matt Pierpont is familiar with, and the Cardinals would have a more intimate knowledge of him than I believe they would of Carson Wisenhunt.
If that is actually a Mariners deal on the table for both of those players,
Sanger,
I'm not like accepted tomorrow. Like that is a fantastic deal for Brendan Donovan, in my opinion. And again, I'm not just saying that because of the kookiness of the switch pitcher. I legitimately think even if he has to lock in his lefty and righty, I don't care. He's got stuff according to everyone who watches him. He's a top 10 prospect in that organization for a reason. I say roll with it. And again, the power factor is pretty cool. By the way, your favorite crazy deep cut Al Davis move. Mine one is when they drafted a safety out of Ohio, not Ohio State. They drafted a safety out of Ohio named Mark Mitchell. And it was one of the few draft picks since like 2006 when I started watching the draft, where when it was made, everyone on the ESPN desk was like looking around like, is this correct? Does anyone know who this is? Mel, you got anything for us? And Mel was like, I got to do some digging. This was day 3 kind of stuff I was prepared for. Funniest thing I've ever seen in a draft to this day. I love that moment by the Raiders.
What about the defensive end? Remember when Clemson had their 4 defensive linemen and 3 of
Farrell.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good one.
They had 3 defensive linemen that were going to be first rounders, and they took the other one.
they took the one no one was talking about, Colin Farrell or Farrell or Farrell, who did nothing, who did absolutely nothing. Right? Yeah, that was it.
Yeah, they did some. They still do stuff. That's just
some crazy stuff.
Horrific organization. Yeah. So, but hey, we had that here. So
yes, we did.
1986 NFL draft.
Oh, here we go.
George Boone is the guy who's running the draft for the football Cardinals at the time. And what I did, because George Boone had a tendency to be unpredictable when he would draft players, and you never knew what the Cardinals were going to do. So what I did is I grabbed Joel Bushbaum's book. Joel Bushbaum was the preeminent draft expert. He was way better than Mel Kiper. He nailed it. He was brilliant. And so I took the top 100 overall players from Joel's book and wrote down each name. And then I tore them into little pieces so that, like, a name, who was the first pick in that draft? I don't even remember. But I wrote down, let's just assume it was Andre Bruce. I don't know. But I wrote down, oh, you know who it was? I'll tell you. No, that was 87. I think it might have been Jerome Brown. I think he might have been in that draft. Anyway, I've got 100 names, and just in case, the 101st name is Mr. X. Okay, so I've got Joel Bushbaum's top 100, and then I've got Mr. X, and the Cardinals have the 6th pick in the draft. And at number 6, they take Anthony Bell, linebacker, Michigan State. He wasn't in the top 100.
Oh, Jesus.
And so I think Kevin Horrigan actually won the 100. So I sold each of these things each of these little slips of paper for $1 a piece, and we put them in a hat, and so he and sold them. No, that's what it was. We sold him, and he had Mr. X. So Kevin Horrigan got Mr. X, and Anthony Bell actually wound up playing a few years in the league for the Raiders, ironically, after he got cut by the Big Red.
Justin Rollins in the chat says, am I the only one who's excited that this rebuild is finally starting? And right out of the bat, MyQuest says, you are not, Justin. I've been waiting for you for a few years at least.
And I think it was underway last year, right, with the runway that they gave young players. When you look at playing Wynn, playing Donovan, getting playing time for Walker and Gorman and Victor Scott II, and giving a little bit more time when they did to Newt Barr when he was healthy. I think there was a lot last year. The Cardinals weren't planning on winning last year,
and their hands were tied about the pitching. A lot of like there could have been so much more pitching that could have been used and been developed, but their hands were tied and they couldn't really do anything about it.
They couldn't. Gray wasn't going anywhere. Michaelis wasn't going anywhere.
But the guys were either injured. I mean, Matthews couldn't stay healthy and long enough for them to get the shot that the run he really needed for him to get the shot. We had all the injuries with different people. I mean, Tink Hence is Tink Hence at this point. I mean, what do you want to do? What do you want to do?
And the other part of it is interesting because they were not shy off the record about telling pretty much everybody in the media how disappointed they were that they couldn't trade Arenado.
Yeah.
And one thing I heard was when Mo said that trading Nolan Arenado is priority 1, priority 2, priority 3, he had him traded. The deal was done. And then Arenado turned it down. And that you don't say that. Trading Arenado is, that makes sense, doesn't it? Trading Arenado is priority 1, 2, and 3. You don't say that unless you have a deal done. And obviously they thought they had a deal done, but Nolan didn't.
It ruined everything.
Yeah. It really did.
I honestly, I don't think this is crazy to think that we might have gotten the September run for JJ Weatherholtz if the entire year Nolan Arenado's not on the roster, and you have the entire season to see what Nolan Gorman is.
Can do at third base.
I mean, and then you have the September. There's no expectation. You have the history of Mason Wynn. Everything we talked about in September while the call up wasn't happening. I feel like we could have seen JJ Weatherholt, which again, the entire fan base is in a different mindset. Take away the fact that the win-loss could have been the exact same. The entire fan base is in a different mindset if Arenado gets moved and takes the deal to Houston.
Yep, no doubt about it. Hey, Monday Night Football tonight, and Missouri, you can put a bet on this one and do so legally. DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app, is now live in Missouri, and you can make every game, including tonight's between the Steelers and the Dolphins, even more exciting with same-game parlays, money lines, props, and more, all from your phone and all safe, secure, and easy to use. We know how to play the game, the tailgates and the passion, and now with DraftKings Sportsbook, you can bring that same energy to every snap and every touchdown and every win. And right now, new Missouri customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets instantly. No waiting, no nonsense, just pure action powered by America's top-rated sportsbook app. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code STL Sports. New Missouri customers bet $5 and get $300 in bonus bets instantly. That's code STL Sports. The crown is yours in partnership with DraftKings Sportsbook.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus, physically present in Missouri. Eligibility and restrictions apply. Terms at DraftKings.com/sportsbook. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos.
A little bit higher in the chat, and apparently our good friend Henry is a diehard Cardinals fan. Who is also a Blackhawks fan.
Oh, there you go. See? There you go.
I mean, it's not your fault you grew up in Springfield, Illinois. Your fault. Not your fault. I can't hold that against you.
You get to choose. Yeah.
You get to choose, and you chose the correct baseball team, and for that, I have to give you a little bit of credit.
Yep. It sounds like you were probably in your formative sports years right around 2010, 2011.
Oh, I was going to say he was a little bit older than that.
Well, you need to tell us. I'm thinking that Hawks win the cup, their first cup in 2010. Cardinals win the World Series in 2011.
But the way he talks about the BFib stuff, he can't be that. He can't. I mean, that would put him at like 26 or 27 years old. He can't be that young. So he's got to be at least my age, I think. And my age would also be great for a Blackhawks fan because
there you go.
Yeah. So I think we're looking at 36.
Okay.
for our boy Henry. Maybe a little bit older.
Good.
Or he's really old and he remembers like Bobby Hall.
Before we get to some of the other stuff, we had this note in the show plan about Ken Rosenthal's point that Royals pitcher Chris Bubich is, quote, of little interest to St. Louis and would probably require a 3-team deal to get them involved, the Royals, in the Donovan sweepstakes. That's surprising.
Yes, because Bubich only has one more year in his deal before he then hits, I think he then becomes arbitration eligible, hits free agency. I'm blanking on it right now. His free agency in 2027. So he's only got one more year on his deal, and because of that, Rosenthal says that essentially it would have to be Bubich to a third team for prospects that then get routed to the Cardinals, and then Brendan Donovan would go to the Royals. So as soon as I saw that, and again to that point, not even Cole Reagan's being discussed. Cole Reagan's being discussed in that article by Ken Rosenthal, but not in relation to the Cardinals. Nothing in there about other pitchers around the Cardinals. So it seems like the chance of getting multiple pitchers from the Royals just isn't going to happen.
By the way, I put this up on the socials over the weekend at Randy Karraker on the Twitter machine, at RJ Karraker on the book and the gram. But you like that? The book and the gram?
I like that, yes.
Do the Cardinals unretire 85? Retired for Gus Bush.
Okay.
Or Dustin May, who's born 85.
Is it on the wall?
Yeah.
It's on the wall.
It's on the wall.
Yeah, as soon as you said, I was like, it's on the wall. No, he just does. He wears a different number. He gets over that one. He wears 74, whatever terrible number he chooses.
74. That's a Kenley Jansen type number.
It is a Kenley Jansen type number. You're right. Patrick Toohey, take it or leave it. In 2026, the Cardinals just get 3 pitchers to show that they can be average starters. With Doyle lying in wait, they add an ace free agent, and they are ready to compete in 2027. I know my answer to this one.
I am going to leave that.
Yeah, I'm going to leave that one.
Yeah. Now, maybe you feel like you get ahead of schedule, and maybe you make a deal for a guy like Alcantara, but only if you get ahead of schedule. I could see something like that, but I don't think the Cardinals will jump in on that $300 million starter mix. And don't you think that whether Skubal becomes a free agent or gets traded and gets an extension, Skubal's going to get between $400 and $500 million, which will raise the price of every starting pitcher.
Yeah, and listen, like 2 out of 3 is fine. I'll take it, but I have to leave any idea of them signing an ace free agent prior to what off season would I think it becomes better than a 0% chance the Cardinals sign an ace free agent pitcher. I'm going to go with winter 2028 at the earliest.
The fans better come back.
Yeah, that's true. And that's why I said at the earliest, because it's not happening in 2027 because there won't be a season. It will not happen coming out of 2027 going into 2028. It will not be that season either. Earliest we're talking is 3 Christmases from now is when you're looking at the Cardinals spending big on a free agent pitcher.
2027 class, and I'm not so sure that this is 100%
or if it's
correct.
Matter.
But Logan Gilbert, Zach Wheeler, DeGrom with a mutual option, Glasnow, Sonny, Luis Castillo, Nick Pivetta has an opt-out. Gore would be a free agent after next season. Clay Holmes, Cody Asenga, Michael Wacha has a club option. Can I interest you in a Sean Manaea? Probably not. Christian Javier. So there's some guys out there for next year, but no, I don't think the Cardinals will be swimming in those waters, to coin a phrase.
Chester Marsol says, I'm excited about it when it comes to the rebuild for the Cardinals. I'm just glad they're doing something / have a plan rather than treading water year after year. I love that, Chester. I'm with you. At this point in my life as a sports fan, I am in a place of I just need to see that adults are in charge who have a plan. And as long as they keep making decisions that are consistent with that plan and don't show a lack of either understanding or conviction in that plan, I can roll with it, even if I don't agree with the actual, basic tenets of the plan.
Okay. Here is a philosophy that I have, and I want to see if you will buy into my philosophy. With the overwhelming prevalence of NFL soft tissue and non-contact injuries, people like Fred Warner, Nick Bosa, Patrick Mahomes, yesterday also Micah Parsons. The same thing happened to Malik Neighbors, Cam Scatabo, ton of big-time players injured this year. in the NFL. And I remember, Matthew, when I was a youngster and they were playing on turf, they were playing on like cement, and they didn't have this many serious season-ending non-contact injuries. I wonder if part of the problem here, we hear all the time about players being bigger, stronger, and faster. I think they might be too big, too strong, too fast, in too good a condition for their own good. There's only certain limits that the human body is designed to withstand. And I think the speed and the size and the weight is causing these players, I'm serious about this, to suffer these injuries that they wouldn't if they were just in normal condition.
I feel like I heard the same thing around football in like 2006 and 7 when there was a really big spike in ACL injuries. And I feel like that conversation then dissipated because, to your point, I think like technology catches up to those things. 'Cause I don't think you're not wrong. I just think technology, nutrition usually does catch up. And you're right. Like or like, I know a big one is, guys, instead of just focusing on pure muscle, it's like we got to focus on elasticity and things like that. So like, you're not wrong, but I think there's always so much money that there will be other things done that offset those things. And so there's still tons of muscle. People will still get stronger and faster than they every year than they were the year before. But to your point, is there a limit? Is there a limit that we're reaching?
Here's another point.
Wouldn't it be kind of hubristic to say that at this point in 2025, just when we're alive is when we're reaching the peak? Isn't that a little hubristic?
No, not at all.
Okay.
Or
maybe a little coincidental.
There's only a certain level of conditioning that a human being can get to.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, there's that one guy trying to live forever.
Yeah.
He's like slopping out his blood.
But he's not
and
playing
stuff.
in the NFL.
No, he's doing shrooms though.
So, no, he is. Here's another part of this though, about NFL injuries, and I think this is I legitimately think this is part of it. Jeff Fisher in the Rams last year here, 2015, told me that he had almost exactly half as much access to his players in 2015 as he had in his last season with the Titans in 2010. I think it was 40 OTAs down to 20 and something like 36 training camp practices down to 18. That's 20 times during OTAs where players are practicing football stuff. And it's another 18 times during training camp where the players are practicing football stuff. Now, what they do when they aren't practicing football stuff, those 20 times in the OTAs or those 18 times during training camp, they're doing one or two things. Sometimes they're doing a walkthrough. Most of the time they're in the weight room and they're working on their conditioning and they're trying to be as physically fit as they possibly can. Not that there's anything wrong with being physically fit. I could use that a little bit. However, I do think that, and this is why Dick Vermeil says he couldn't coach in the NFL now. There is something to be said for just being a football player and being football ready and going through the process of preparing your body for a 16 or now 17 game season. And I don't think players are getting near the opportunity, the necessary opportunity, in my opinion, to become football players.
Interesting. I don't know enough about this topic because
I don't either. I'm just making it up as I go along.
I feel like I've heard this before, and it's one of those things where it's always like, well, when is the limit going to be? Where is the limit? It probably is one of those things where we set a limit. And like I said, new things happen and we reset the limit. Mm-hmm. New things happen and we reset the limit. No one's working out and training like Tony Mandrich was, but people are still getting jacked to hell and not having the same complications he was having because, well, we're not, using needles as unsafe as I'm sure he was. But other progressions have been made in the science and things like that. And I think that's probably the answer to what happens. I think you're right though. There does seem to be logically like you can only push the human body so far, but are we close to it? I don't know.
It just seems
a fascinating idea.
And I know the NFL will come out with the numbers when the season is over. Just seems to me like there has been an inordinate amount of injuries to superstars this year. Kittle was gone for half the season. Khalil Mack missed 4 games. when the Chargers hired Harbaugh and Joe Ortiz. Joe Ortiz is their general manager. Ortiz said, "Hey, we've got Justin Herbert, but our stars are going to be our offensive tackles. Our 2 first-round offensive tackles, Joe Alt and Rashawn Slater. Well, those 2 are both out for the year with injuries. Alt has, I think he's got a knee, and I think it was an Achilles for Slater, a non-contact Achilles suffered during training camp. So I'm just wondering, and Roger Goodell has to hate it, right? When you lose Patrick Mahomes and Micah Parsons on the same day, I think you have to say, what's going on here? I think that's a question that he needs to ask his medical people.
Or Jason Daniels getting sat down for the last 3 games of the season. They're going to play They're going to play Marcus Mariota instead.
Marcus Mariota. Yeah. There's just a lot that's going on in the NFL. And by the way, the departure of the Chiefs this year, just if you hate the Chiefs, and I know a lot of you do, unless you're going to retroactively change your mind, which you can say, no, I've always liked the Chiefs. But don't dance on their grave. Don't give me the Chiefs are dead stuff ESPN is doing.
Can I do it a little bit?
Well,
potentially just a minute, just for
try it.
But
here's
did you say the Patriots were dead?
No,
week 2 of the 2007 season. Did you not dance? No. Did you not dance on the grave a little bit?
2008 when Brady.
2008. Sorry. Week 2 of 2008. You didn't do a little grave dance thing
the next week. And
did they? Really?
That was a week after Steven Jackson got hurt.
That's fair.
And so
you didn't do any grave dancing?
No, Patrick Mahomes is 30 years old. One time the Philadelphia Eagles thought after 5 NFC championship games that Andy Reid sucked and they fired him.
I love that stat so much. I love that
5 NFC championship games. And so he missed the last couple of years. They said, yeah, you suck. And they fired him. And then he went to Kansas City and he went to 5 Super Bowls. He's pretty good. Mahomes, the ACL is kind of routine now, unless you're Sam Bradford. You come back from it. Sorry about that. So that's another thing is Mahomes is going to be back. Those guys, especially Humphrey and Smith, they come out of college and all of a sudden they're playing a ton of games every year. Those guys have played in their 4 years in the NFL. 5 years now, basically a full season more than all the other rookies that they came in with. And they do have to get Simmons up and running. He's out for the year with a wrist. They need to fix right tackle.
If they get an offensive line, then
it's over.
We have at the least 6 to 8 more years of Patrick Mahomes being a very good, dangerous quarterback where his teams will be dangerous for him. As long as they have a good offensive line in front of him, because the defense was trading away talent and losing other guys and keeping only Chris Jones, and they would slip here and there, but for the most part, they were keeping things together. But the offensive line, year after year, was just getting worse and worse, and eventually got to a point where it was just untenable.
Yeah, the Chiefs' defense this year. Let me make sure I have this right. I believe they're 5th in the league in points allowed. 5th in the league, averaging 19.1. The Rams are in 4th. The Eagles are in 6th.
There you go.
So that's a championship defense that Spags is putting together.
And again, that's a defense that has gone through multiple levels of being a championship team and watching yourself getting picked apart because of the cap. And yet they still are able to put it together. So if they just get an offensive line, they're absolutely back. And that's why I just want to do that, just little like doot on the grave and then right off.
And the offensive line is all about protection. Patrick Mahomes this year, the only quarterback hit more has been Justin Herbert. We talked about the Chargers losing their offensive line. They still have this number 7 offense in the league. They don't score points. They haven't been good in the red zone. Their running game has not been very good. But there are enough things there to make me believe that Kansas City is still going to be pretty good.
Last year's year, the running back was fun. You were right on this one. 24 years old for Henry Wells.
Oh,
I'm shocked he's that young.
Yeah. Well, Henry, we appreciate you being a part of the show.
Yeah, thank you. Wow. Shocked.
Yeah.
Although I honestly would really want to know, knowing that you grew up in Chicago, you're still in Chicago, I think is what you said. What do people around you say when you call the Cardinals the best fans in baseball? I just want to know what they react to, because you are an absolute warrior, my man. You're up there. You're fighting the Cardinals fight. Absolute Warrior stuff. I want to know what the Chicago fans around you react when you say that, because that's insane. I was not expecting that. You do not type in the chat like you're a 24-year-old.
Okay, this is a tough one, and I will not force you to stick to this prediction.
All right.
Because the NFL is so incredibly wide open. But as of December 15th, give me your Super Bowl.
Oh. Ooh. Okay. Let me think about this one for a moment. What are you thinking in the AFC right now?
I
because like we had last, obviously we
injuries,
had. I mean,
yep.
I don't know what to think right now about Bills and Patriots, even after watching them play each other in a game. I still don't know what to think about that whole battle. So I'm a little confused here about what to do in the AFC.
I think the team whose game completely travels is the Chargers. They rush the passer. They run the ball, even though their offensive line has been torn apart. Their defense is great. They play great special teams.
Are you theorizing that the lows of the Chargers this year are kind of fluky?
They're 10-4.
Yeah, but they've had some really weird games though. They've been kind of Seattle Seahawks with the season this year, where it's like play a normal game for
their
once.
losses. They lost at the Giants. They
Crazy
lost
game.
at the Dolphins by 2.
Crazy game.
Yep. Then they lost at the Colts.
Great. Yeah.
And the Colts were rolling at that time. Then they lost at the Jaguars 35-6.
Yeah.
I think it's just the inconsistency of the entire league.
And then you have the Eagles game from the other night too, that they did win, but that wasn't that they could have lost that game 4 times over to a better team.
I just think that stylistically they play playoff football all the time. And I don't think it matters where they go.
You're a big
they can run the ball. Yeah. He and Kyle Shanahan have turned in the 2 best coaching jobs in the league. I know Vrabel or Ben Johnson is going to win it, or Liam Cohen, but the 2 best coaching jobs in the league this year by a country mile are Jim Harbaugh and Kyle Shanahan. Kyle Shanahan, before the season started, they cut or released 17 players during the offseason. He never had Brandon Ayuk this year. He didn't have Brock Purdy for half the season. He didn't have George Kittle for half the season. He has lost Bosa. He's lost Warner.
Here's where I'm going with here's my AFC Championship game.
Okay.
And based on seeding, this might not actually be possible in the bracket, on how the bracket works out, but for now, I'm just going to go for it. I'm going to go low seeds here.
Okay.
But after they sneak into the playoffs as a wild card team, the Texans go on a run.
That's a great pick.
And then they face off against the Bills in the AFC Championship game.
Another great pick, because the Texans are doing things. They play great special teams.
Mm-hmm.
They play great defense. As a matter of fact, they've led the league in defense in points scored pretty much the whole season. And now they've got things going offensively. Granted, yesterday it was against Arizona, so they can't take much out of it. But Stroud is throwing well. Nico Collins is having another monster year. They didn't have Chubb yesterday, but I really like that pick. I think Houston and Buffalo in the AFC Championship game would be a lot of fun.
I don't know. Randy, I can't in good conscience say what I think the NFC Championship game is.
You're going to go with the LA Rams.
Yes.
Okay.
Facing off
who are they
against
going to lose to?
The Seattle Seahawks.
Okay. I'm thinking,
and I hate everything about that.
Yeah. I'm just, and I need to know what happens with Lane Johnson.
That's fair.
But if Philadelphia has Lane Johnson, I wouldn't be surprised to see him back in there.
Yeah, I mean, we just saw the Eagles play a very good game after a very ugly game, and that's kind of their thing. It's one of those things where if they struggle through the division round, they'll blow the team out in the next round, and then they'll lose in the Super Bowl.
I think they're bored.
I
think they're really good, really talented, and I kind of think they like the drama with all the A.J. Brown stuff. And I think when they want to play well, they play really well.
So essentially, looping this back to our hockey conversation to start the show, you think the Philadelphia Eagles need to give the Avalanche and the Panthers a call and be like, hey, how do you get motivated to win during the season when you know how good you are as an actual team?
Yeah, I think that'd be a
little phone call. All right.
Although in the NHL, as we have seen, and basically it's become this way in the NFL, home field and home ice doesn't really make a difference.
Yeah, that's fair.
And the Colorado Avalanche might just be that much better than everybody else. Although Colorado Minnesota games will be fun to watch now.
Okay, Texans. So I got Texans, Bills, and then I got a freaking AFC West and NFC West battle in the championship.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go with, because I'm on the right side of God, I'm gonna go with the Seahawks facing off against the Bills.
Oh, I would love that.
That'd be a fascinating Super Bowl right there.
Yep. And I'm gonna go Chargers Eagles.
Okay, I would love that one. Yeah, I mean,
that'd be fun, wouldn't it?
Harbaugh versus Sirianni is a fantastic coach matchup. That's crazy good.
Yep. By the way, and I've seen this on social media, but if you never have, is Nick Sirianni the grown-up version of the kid in Elf? Look at the kid in Elf. Find a picture of the kid in Elf that wears the Wayne Corbett jersey, and tell me if that is if Nick Sirianni is that kid.
Oh yeah, I kind of see what you're going for.
Yep.
What an awesome Wayne Corbett jersey that is.
Yeah, that's.
I could see that. That makes sense. I like that. That's a good call.
That's not mine. I stole that from social media.
No, fair enough.
But if you here, there's a million side by sides of them on the interwebs. Here, if you just give you a picture, just look at just Google Nick Sirianni kid in Elf.
Okay, the side by side doesn't make it even better, and they got the perfect little dumb look on Nick Sirianni's face for that picture.
The hat,
it locks him in. That is a good call. I like that one right there.
So yeah, just check that out while you're here on the interwebs. We love having you on the interwebs with us every afternoon.
We have so many chats here. I want to.
Let's knock out a couple.
Not a lot to
and we
really
will,
get to, but you guys are having fun in the chat.
We can do Randy Reacts too.
We could do some Randy Reacts. Did you get a chance to? I know you were busy on Friday. Did you get a chance to hear Cam and Jim's interview with Oli Marmol?
I did not.
Go back and listen to it. You can find it. We posted the audio here on STL Sports Central's YouTube page. You can also find it on the luinfo.com's YouTube page as well. Really fun interview with Oli, and it's one of those ones. He has fun with Jim too a lot, and it's just if you're not a big fan of Oli, listen, I'm not going to be able to convince you his X's and O's. If you're thinking I don't like the way he manages the bullpen, fine, I'm not going to be able to convince you of that. But if you just don't like Oli, or if you've never really heard him have fun in an interview, if you don't ever listen to his midday Tuesday interviews throughout the season on Gas House Gang over on Camo X, it's a really fun interview. We have some fun with him. We read a couple of the chatters questions. We weren't 100% sure if he could see all the chat questions or just the one that we put up on the screen. And we found out in the middle of it, when he decided to read a chat that we had not put up on the screen, that he could read the entire spectrum of the chat. And so he read a chat that we did not put up on the screen. He was reading your guys' chats, and during it he read a chat that said, can you ask that Simp Marmol where he takes his orders from for the lineup and things like that in the front office? Marmol was just like, well, I'll answer it right now. He goes, if you get really mad about any decision made during a game, he goes, one person to yell at, and that's me. He goes, and you can very much yell at me all you want. I love that kind of stuff. He had that, and we also had somebody ask him if it feels awkward for him when he has to wear his hat front during games. And he asked the question that I always wonder, which is, why do people care so much about how he wears his hats? I don't know, but there's a lot of people. We put that as a little clip, and there's multiple people in the comments who say, I just can't take an adult seriously who wears his hat backwards.
There were
I don't understand people.
Major League Baseball players that hated Griffey wearing his hat backwards for BP. And remember, there was controversy over Chase Daniel, and he was young. He was a college kid wearing his hat backwards. And I remember that being a controversy here when Chase Daniel was playing for Mizzou.
And like somebody's like, why? How am I supposed to take an adult seriously for wearing a hat backwards? It's like, I don't know, maybe take adults seriously based on other things that aren't how they wear their clothing?
Yeah, that's not a bad idea.
That's how you do it.
Yeah. And maybe if he hits 56 homers, it doesn't matter.
Apparently not.
Or wins 3 games?
Cheater. I'm sorry. I don't say this right now. If you were an old person who didn't like Ken Griffey Jr., yeah, he wasn't for you. Guess what? The world's not always going to be for you.
Does somebody not like Ken Griffey Jr.?
There's old people, like your point, the old players who didn't like him wearing his hat backwards. Suck it up. My God. What a bunch of babies.
Just because you wear your hat backwards doesn't mean that you don't respect the game.
Apparently, we aren't getting softer as a society. We're just being more public about how soft we are.
I think so. Yeah, no doubt about it. We love having you here at STL Sports Central. Don't forget, you can sign up for our Insider. And Bernie and I are going to have a little bit of a show for you tomorrow if you are an Insider. In fact, let me tell you exactly what's going to go on because it's going to be awesome. And all you need to do is join us here at STL Sports Central. I know I've got this. Somebody actually sent me all the information. Here it is. Hold on. Oh, no. It wasn't it. I thought I had it.
Wait,
do you have
hold
the
on.
information about my Bernie and I's show tomorrow?
I think I do not in front of me right now, but I'm going to get it for you.
I know there's quality information here. We're going to have Bernie and I are going to have a chat for Insiders tomorrow at 6 p.m. We love to talk sports and we love to talk to you guys. And so we want you to be part of the show tomorrow. Here it is.
Essentially, go ahead.
Tomorrow night, 6 p.m., STL Sports Central will host a free live chat with Bernie Miklasz and Randy Karraker. Join us on the STL Sports Central YouTube channel and get your questions off to Bernie and Randy. The Bernie and Randy live chats will be for insiders only in 2026. But tomorrow night, Tuesday night, is free to all subscribers. So make sure to hit that subscribe button to know when we go live, Bernie and I, tomorrow here on STL Sports Central. Looking forward to that.
Yeah, so like you just said there, everybody, it's free Bernie chat, but you got to be subscribed to the channel. Again, this is a free cost thing, and it makes everything better. You guys subscribe to us. It helps us, by the way, in a big way, just being honest with us. When you guys subscribe, it helps our numbers. It helps the YouTube. It helps everything like that. And it's really easy. Just when you're on YouTube, just hit that subscribe button that's right below you on the video. Again, this is no charge. This is completely free. This is just to be subscribed on YouTube, which just means you'll see our videos. Since you're watching today, we assume you like to see the video. So subscribe. That helps us out. And if you are subscribed, you are in the chat for Bernie and Randy tomorrow night. You just got to be subscribed to the YouTube. And then in the future, as we do more of these things, it'll be behind the Insider paywall. But that's because we got to have some fun with these kind of things. But here, this first one, get involved, get into the chat.
By the way, if you didn't hear, Rob Reiner and his bride were killed by their son. Police saying that Nick Reiner is responsible, had an argument with his dad at a party on Saturday night. And I had
Apparently
forgotten.
It was Conan O'Brien's Christmas party.
Who's?
Conan O'Brien's Christmas
really?
party.
Wow.
TMZ reported.
I didn't remember this. If you ask me to write down my top 10 movies of all time, I am pretty sure that within that top 10, you're going to have the Jack Nicholson, Tom Cruise, Kevin Bacon classic, A Few Good Men, directed by Rob Reiner. I had forgotten that was a Rob Reiner film. And
Princess Bride.
Yep, awesome.
When Harry Met Sally.
Yep, Spinal Tap.
I'm not a big Spinal Tap fan, but it's a great movie.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, somebody ran it down earlier that it's like 8 of the best genre movies in American history, all Rob Reiner. One of the best American horror movies. He directed Misery.
Yeah.
The Stephen King book turned into a movie.
And James Caan, right?
And that was not his only Stephen King novel. Obviously, of course, The Body was turned into Stand By Me. Which is a Rob Reiner classic. So yeah, I mean, the guy, coming of age stories, horror movies, courtroom dramas. It's just, rom-coms. I mean, he literally had his fingerprints on the greatest genre of films in American history for the last 30 years.
So don't argue with your kids.
Yeah. It's one way to look at it.
It is today.
Terry McKenna says Oli needs to be fired. Terry, go watch the Oli interview. I'll change your opinion. He's a great guy.
Well, yeah, he's a swell guy. He is. We like him. He's a good guy.
I think he manages the bullpen pretty well, though.
He does.
I'll make an X's and O's comment. I think he manages the bullpen pretty well.
Yeah. Last year he was cool enough when we started the TV show. It was early in the morning, spring training, first day of spring training, I think. And he was cool enough to come on with us and inaugurate the TV show. And then when we got to our 100th episode, he came on and ripped me a little bit. So that was fun. He'll play the game with you. He's great. So it's
speaking of playing the game, speaking of having a lot of fun, again, tomorrow night, Randy and Bernie chat. If you want the info, just subscribe here to the YouTube channel.
Yep. And we will see you tomorrow, Matthew and Randy, just after 3 here on the Randy Karraker Show on STL Sports Central, presented by DraftKings, where the crown is yours.